The holidays are upon us in almost heaven. Tonight on Big 12 Now on ESPN+, Bob Huggins' Mountaineers take their final exam before league play begins. 9-2 West Virginia taking on 4-8 Stony Brook. We welcome you courtside. Nick Farrell here alongside Mountaineer Hall of Famer Warren Baker. Angelica Trinone joins us in just a little bit. Bake, earlier this week, Coach Huggins said, throw Stony Brook's record out the window because this game, a final tune-up for league play, is important for his guys.
And that's exactly right. Don't overlook anybody. You've done a good job here with the non-conference. Finish strong before the break.
West Virginia wrapping up a 4-game homestand tonight. The Mountaineers have won 3 in a row, beating Buffalo most recently by 18 points. A trio of terrific individual performers.
Well, yeah, Jimmy Bell really last ball game really broke out of his shell. Coach Huggins has been waiting to see that from him.
Meanwhile, Stony Brook has a lot of firepower, guys that can hurt you, including 6'7" forward Frankie Policelli, who's averaging just about a double-double this season.
He's had 5 double-doubles in 10 games. That's really doing it up. So he does it at both ends. West Virginia has to be ready.
Coming off a 22-19 performance against Army in Stony Brook's most recent game, the Seawolves won that contest by 7 points. Meanwhile, Eric Stevenson coming off a season-high 22 in the win over Buffalo for West Virginia. He'll look to lead WVU again tonight. Our referees, Rick Crawford, Mike Roberts, and Brooks Wells, as we're about to tip off the final non-conference game of 2022 for WVU. Here we go, underway at the Coliseum. Stony Brook wins the opening tip. Seawolves in all red, Mountaineers in their gray uniforms.
And as usual, West Virginia starts out in that aggressive man.
Down low to Policelli, second leading scorer on this Seawolves roster. Pass is picked off by Trey Mitchell. Here he comes in transition. He's fouled by Kane Roberts. First personal, first team foul for Stony Brook, 21 seconds in.
Good anticipation by Trey Mitchell. Policelli put a lazy pass out there. Mitchell picked it off, got tripped up. He's okay. Ball out of bounds. He wasn't in the act of shooting.
So here's Kedrian Johnson to bring it in for West Virginia. Finds Mitchell. Seawolves also starting in man-to-man defense.
Yeah, you'll see a lot of defenses out of them this evening. Probably mostly zone, but right now they're starting in a man.
Stevenson kicks to Mitchell from the left wing. 3-ball.
Boy, does Trey Mitchell look comfortable now the way he's played the last couple ball games.
Coming off a 17-point, 6-rebound game in the win over Buffalo for West Virginia. Starting 5 for the visiting Seawolves, Policelli, Kane Roberts, Tyler Stevenson Moore, the leading scorer. The big men are Keenan Sarver and Keenan Fitzmaurice, a 7-footer who transferred from Stanford. Here is Morris working against Bell, and he's been fouled on the baseline by West Virginia's big man.
Now Fitzmaurice had backed Bell down. Bell looked like he had his arm straight up. Let's see here. See if he reached in. Well, I tell you what, Fitzmaurice initiated the contact. A lot of times they will call it on you. Boy, nice out-of-bounds play. West Virginia caught sleeping Fitzmaurice down the middle for a flush.
And that's what this Stony Brook team can do. Bake a 6'10" and a 7-foot forward in the starting lineup. Johnson for 3, he got it. Back-to-back 3 balls for WVU. The starting 5 for West Virginia, Kedrian Johnson and Kobe Johnson in the starting 5, along with Trey Mitchell, Eric Stevenson, and Jimmy Bell. A reminder that Emmett Matthews Jr. missing his 2nd game in a row. He's been diagnosed with a deep bone bruise in his knee, so Johnson will start in place of Matthews. Coach Huggins, though, optimistic that West Virginia's 50-year forward will return to practice after the holiday break. Pair of field goals by Stony Brook's big men. That one from Keenan Sarvin, the native of the Netherlands, to bring it back to a 2-point game. Bake, why don't you hit us with your keys to the game, starting with the Seawolves?
Well, I think they really need to regulate the pace this evening. I don't think they can get in a track meet with West Virginia. And they need to get those guys, TMS, who is Tyler Stevenson Moore, get those guys going early.
Here's Johnson, another 3. That one won't go. Kobe Johnson, the rebound. Stevenson will scoop it up. Long two, back iron, doesn't get the roll. Jimmy Bell fighting for it, but Policelli rips the board. Okay, Bake, what about your keys for the Mountaineers?
A start fast. They did get off to a start fast here, hitting a couple threes. And then recognizing changing defenses, because Stony Brook will play a variety of defenses this evening.
Sarvin inside, kicking to Stevenson Moore, one of the leading scorers in the Colonial Athletic Association. Sarvin shoots the three, but misses. Mountaineers with the board. West Virginia coming off an 18-point victory over Buffalo. Their fourth victory by that exact margin this season. They've won 8 of their 9 games by 18 or more. Bell trapped near the baseline, finds Kobe Johnson with 9 to shoot. He'll fire. And Policelli is there to pull down another rebound for the Seawolves.
Nice blocks out by Stony Brook just now. Kept Bell off the boards.
Another Stony Brook turnover. Mountaineers moving quickly. Stevenson wants the lob, and he tips it in.
That was a tough play. He really wanted to dunk it, but then had to control it with one hand and then let it drop.
Stevenson had a season-high 22 in the win against Buffalo. It was the 3rd game in a row that West Virginia has shot better than 50% from the field. 3 straight wins in 3 straight home games, shooting better than 50%. Not 9 to shoot for Stevenson Moore. Hand in his face, can't get it to go. Fitzmaurice with the board and put back, no good, and Johnson gets the rebound. That's Kobe Johnson for West Virginia. He'll take it to the cup, basket, and the foul.
Wow. Nice body control by Kobe Johnson. I thought that they might call that on the floor, but they gave him the shot too, so good 3-point chance.
The sophomore from Canton, Ohio will go to the line when we come back. Mountaineers firing away early. They lead Stony Brook by 6.
Whenever it comes to these non-conference games, usually there's a Bob Huggins connection, whether it's someone from his past or one of his former players or assistants. Here tonight, it is the former for Gino Ford, the head coach for Stony Brook. Bob Huggins says he grew up with his dad, who he calls Big Gene. He said he played against him in Biddy basketball. They were also teammates, and they also were on the same Little League team as well, so he's very familiar with the Ford family. He was even rattling off the nicknames of Gino's grandparents. Now, whenever it comes to Gino, he played West Virginia all 4 years. He was at Ohio University. His last trip to the WVU Coliseum was in 1996. He scored 24 points in that matchup. And something else that came from the Ford family, one of Bob Huggins' favorite sayings. He always talks about, don't look in the rearview mirror. We don't have one in the truck. We're not going that way. And we found out this week that actually came from his dad. And we found out too, Warren Baker surprisingly never heard that one himself.
No. I like it.
Bake, you didn't know the famous rearview mirror story? We're not going backward. We don't need a rearview mirror. Gino Ford, 4th season as the head coach at Stony Brook, the 6th all-time leading scorer at Ohio University. Finished his career with more than 1,700 points, a career average of 14.4 points per game, and was also a first-team All-MAC honoree during his final season as a Bobcat. Kobe Johnson hit that free throw. Kane Roberts fouled him and sent him to the line, so that means Roberts, the starting guard from Tokyo, Japan, has committed a pair of fouls in the first 5 minutes. That is the 3rd Seawolves turnover.
Well, Fitzmaurice, big fellow outside trying to handle the ball. You don't want your 7-footer outside trying to dribble the ball.
One sub during that stoppage for West Virginia. Mo Wagi has checked in for the first time, replacing Jimmy Bell. Backward, oh my goodness, what an oop, backdoor cut. He wanted it a moment ago, didn't he? He wanted to dunk one in transition. He gets the oop that time from Trey Mitchell.
Nice pass from Trey Mitchell. Put it right there above the rim where he could get it and flush it.
One sub for Stony Brook during that recent stoppage as well. Toby Onyekone, the Illinois native, has entered the game, replacing Roberts, who has 2 personals. Here's Onyekone with it against Kedrian Johnson, 8 to shoot and ticking. He lost it. Johnson trying to get on it. 3 seconds to shoot in a tie-up. Possession arrow favoring West Virginia. Well, we got to get another look at this, don't we, Bing?
Yeah, went back door, got a little screen and an excellent pass. Mo McGee set up a nice screen for him, and Stevenson didn't rest. He knew what to do with it.
Mitchell with the feed. That's big-time stuff from the Mountaineers in their final non-conference game before Big 12 play. It's a 7-0 run for WVU, and the Seawolves have not scored a field goal in the last 3:30 plus. Johnson finds Mitchell, and inside to Stevenson, 12 to shoot. Stevenson fading away, in and out.
Had a tough roll.
That time, it's Keenan Sarvin from beyond the arc. He's got 5 points now. That's his first 3 ball, a 32% shooter from beyond the arc this season.
Well, the one thing that they had in the scouting report, don't let him spot up. And he was able to spot up. You saw the results.
Stevenson cutting to the basket. He gets it back from Kedrian Johnson. Around to Kobe Johnson, who tries to go inside, scoring with the left.
Kobe Johnson doing a nice job starting with the injured Emmett Matthews on the bench, coming in and giving some good minutes for the Mountaineers.
Making the most of his second start in a row and 4th of the season. He's a 70% field goal shooter. Policelli from beyond the arc. Rebound Mitchell. Mountaineers by 8 in the early goings, looking to extend their winning streak to 4. Wagee back to Kedrian Johnson. And now Mitchell from the foul line. Off iron and another rebound by Policelli. He's got 4 already.
Yeah, he's a rebounding machine.
Policelli had 19 boards against Army. Here's the big man Fitzmaurice over to Policelli on the far side. Short. And that's about as good as a turnover, as there's more substitutions for both teams. Joe Toussaint coming in for his first minutes. And a substitution for Stony Brook. Tanaj Petway, the Indian River Junior College transfer, also checks in.
Stony Brook with a few guys injured, their bench may be very limited tonight.
A team that doesn't go very deep, right, Bake? Normally only goes 3 off the bench. We're told they're dealing with some injuries and may have a few guys inactive today.
I'm still shocked that they're playing man-to-man. I thought I would see some zone before now, but they're staying with the man.
Toussaint, no good, and another rebound by Policelli. Boy, he is very good on the glass.
Well, it looks like at this rate, he'll end up with double-digit rebounds. I don't know about the scoring.
Offensive foul on the screen. It'll be West Virginia ball. Make it 3, scratch that 5 turnovers early for Stony Brook.
Checking in for the Mountaineers, Seth Wilson.
Well, you know, if they're that thin, Nick, the one thing that Coach Ford said, in all the games they lost, they ran out of gas. As deep as West Virginia's bench is, if they keep putting on there, you can look for fatigue to set in with this team.
Seawolves 4-8 overall this season. They've won 2 of their last 3, both against Division I opponents, beating Army and Sacred Heart in that stretch. Another rebound by Policelli, but Stony Brook is winless on the road and on neutral courts, a combined 0-7 away from home. That's a strong take by Tyler Stevenson Moore. His first bucket, he averages 15 per game, which leads the Seawolves and is top 10 in the Colonial Athletic Association. Seawolves, by the way, in their first season in the CAA, formerly of the America East. Pull up Joe Toussaint from 3. Rebound, Tanaj Petway for the Seawolves.
Stony Brook has done a nice job on the boards.
Johnson gets the steal. Looked like Petway had a clear path to the basket. Mitchell on the other end, can't get it to go. Mitchell had 17 points but was a bit slow to start against Buffalo, where he only had 5 in the first half, then poured in a dozen in the second half as the Mountaineers pulled away late to win by 18. That's a spot-up 3 by Toby Onyekon. And very quickly, Stony Brook has cut this down to a 1-possession game. Mountaineers lead by just 3 with 10.5 left in the opening period. Mountaineers have made just 1 of their last 7 field goal attempts and haven't scored in the last 3 minutes of action. This is Seth Wilson working against Petway, has it stripped but gets it back. Toussaint will try another 3. No good again. Wagi can't get the tip in, and Policelli collects.
Stony Brook doing an excellent job of boxing out on the defensive boards.
Policelli has 7 boards. Wow, what a block by Wagi. Have you ever seen that, Bake? Blocked and wedged by Mo Wagi.
Wow, he had to recover to get that too.
Stony Brook hanging tough early. Seawolves trail by just 3 at the Coliseum. Mountaineers not ranked in the AP Top 25. They did receive votes and are technically 27th in the AP poll, but still highly ranked in the net rankings, which are of great consequence late in the season when it comes to tournament time. Mountaineers, the 2nd highest rated Big 12 team in the net. Every Big 12 team in the top 63 just sums up just how difficult of a run it's going to be in Big 12
my words exactly,
play.
just how tough this conference is and is going to be throughout the year.
Well, Bob Huggins' team at the moment is in the midst of a scoring drought. Hasn't scored a field goal in the last 3:40. Mountaineers made 4 of their first 6 attempts in the first 5 minutes of the game. Since then, just 9 for 2. 2 for 9, excuse me.
West Virginia has been a little impatient on the offensive end, taking a lot of quick shots. JoJo Harris comes in and immediately turns it over.
New entrant for West Virginia, Harris, Bell, Kedrian Johnson, Seth Wilson, and Trey Mitchell on the floor for WVU. 1-possession ball game. Mountaineers lead by 3 on the scoreboard, but they're also trailing in the rebounding category by a significant amount, 11-5, as Roberts throws that one into the 4th row.
I thought it was a little deeper than the 4th row.
That is the 7th Stony Brook turnover. Mountaineers have converted those turnovers into 7 points. Johnson is fouled and will go to the line.
Rocco Muratori came in for Stony Brook, 7'3", and he's every bit of 7'3", might be 7'3" plus.
Johnson was fouled there by Roberts, so that's his 3rd personal. He's only been able to play sparingly here in this first half due to foul trouble. Meanwhile, Johnson at the free throw line makes the first. He is top 10 in the Big 12 in free throw percentage, 80% this season, and leads West Virginia in trips to the foul line. Second attempt is good from the Dallas, Texas native. He's got 5 points.
Bob Huggins really pleased with the production that he's getting out of Keedy Johnson now.
Johnson averaging just shy of 9 points per game. Had 8 points against Buffalo. Against UAB, might have had one of the best performances of his Mountaineer career, scoring 17 and locking down the nation's leading scorer. As Tanaj Petway scores for the Seawolves, becoming their 5th on the score sheet.
Good judgment by Petway. Saw that he couldn't get all the way to the hoop, stopped and shot a little fadeaway.
Scoring drought ended a moment ago for West Virginia, but a field goal drought continues and has just reached 5 minutes. Johnson trying to get in close. Did not have it stripped. It's a double dribble.
Yep.
And that's West Virginia's 2nd turnover. JoJo Harris to the bench. Stevenson back in as we take another look at that last sequence. Bake, you mentioned West Virginia's maybe shooting, maybe moving a little bit too fast through possessions. They have had some scoring droughts at times this season. Is that the biggest theme that you're seeing from WVU, maybe trying to force things when they get into situations like that?
Yeah, we do see that from time to time. That's why you see Bob Huggins go to his bench to try to give a spark.
Onyekon hit his second three of the first half a moment ago to tie it at 17. We've got a foul off the ball committed by Rocco Muratori. Right wing jumper, hand in his face. First time this game has been tied since 0-0 at the beginning of the contest. Boy, these Seawolves, Bake, they may be shorthanded, but they sure are hanging tough in the early goings against West Virginia. Remember, this is a team with just 2 Division I wins on the season, 4-8 overall. Another foul on Stony Brook, this one committed by Petway, the junior.
Petway trying to get through a screen. A little too aggressive.
A screen set by a man much larger than him in Jimmy Bell at 6'10", 270. Rather, screen set by Kobe Johnson, and he tripped Bell up. Going back to Bell inside, he got hacked again. Nope, he lost it. Out of bounds and another turnover.
Bell tried to gather himself. Had the ball slip out of his hands, and West Virginia with another turnover.
So an uncharacteristically slow start for the Mountaineers. Shooting just 37% in this first half. They've shot 50% or better in each of their last 3 games. Mitchell can't connect. Bell got the rebound, and he's fouled by Muratori on the low block. So the Mountaineers and Stony Brook Seawolves all knotted up at 17 in the final non-conference game of 2022.
Matthews on the sideline for the second straight game, dealing with a deep bone bruise in his knee. Coach Huggins says where they really miss Matthews the most is his defense. He's the most versatile player that they have. And he said in Washington, what really helped him was his perimeter game. Now, Matthews says that little stint at Washington he refers to as just a little vacation from West Virginia. He says there was 2 main reasons he wanted to come back here to this program. First, he wanted to be able to graduate alongside his sister Amani. He said she was instrumental in getting him to come back to West Virginia. He did that last Saturday. That was accomplished, and now there's just 1 bucket item list left for Matthews in his final year as a Mountaineer. He said coming back, being able to walk the carpet on senior night was just something he knew had to be done here in this building. He could not miss that opportunity, and that will be coming for him here in a few months as well.
Awesome stuff, Angelica, and we'll show you more about Emmett Matthews' graduation last weekend coming up in our halftime report here on Big 12 Now on ESPN+. Nick Farrell, Warren Baker, Angelica Trinone here with you. The final game for West Virginia before Big 12 play begins on New Year's Eve in Manhattan, Kansas, against the Wildcats of Kansas State. Mitchell working down low, off the glass, no good. Mountaineers, 6 minutes since their last converted field goal attempt. They are 0 for their last 8.
Now, West Virginia's offense right now is anything but fluid.
Petway with it for Stony Brook. He's got 7 to shoot. Working inside against Stevenson, and he walked with it. 8 turnovers for the Seawolves here in the first half.
Now the Seawolves are getting ready for conference play too. They'd like nothing more than have a great showing against West Virginia, try to pick them off before they go into their conference.
Seawolves seeking their first win away from home this season. They're 0-6 in true road games and 0-1 in neutral site games. Shot clock winding down. Kedrian Johnson inside. Turnaround J is good to end the field goal drought. That's 7 points now for Johnson, the assists and steals leader on this West Virginia team. Inside to Keenan Fitzmaurice, the Stanford transfer against Jimmy Bell. Kicks to Onyekon. Johnson stripped him, and it was off his foot. Last touch by Onyekon. Another turnover, another takeaway for West Virginia.
Well, Onyekon got himself in a bad position down on that baseline. Really no place to go. Quick hands by Keedy Johnson.
Well, here's an interesting substitution for West Virginia during that last stoppage. Trey Mitchell going to the bench, replaced by Jamel King, the sophomore from Uniontown, Alabama, who averages just 4 minutes per game this season.
Well, Bob Huggins trying to find a spark off the bench. Again, this offense has been sputtering here of late. And again, I'm just shocked. I did not expect Stony Brook to stay in a man, and they've done that. They usually played multiple defenses, but they've been good with the man.
Kedrian and Kobe Johnson out there for West Virginia. Eric Stevenson, Jimmy Bell, and King. Here's Kedrian Johnson for three. Swish. So that's back-to-back field goals from Keedy Johnson, who's the first player in double figures. He has a pair of three-pointers today, and the Mountaineers lead it by 5. Other end, it's Policelli missing a 3 from the corner. It was King who hit the deck there for West Virginia. Kedrian Johnson lets it fly again, no good. Policelli swiping, another rebound for Stony Brook. He averages 10 boards per game to lead the Colonial Athletic Association. He's got to be close.
I was going to say he may have 10 at halftime there.
Policelli gets it in the corner. Kicks to Petway. That's way long off the glass. Here's Kedrian Johnson again, fouled in the lane. Stony Brook is in the penalty. That's its 8th team foul, 2nd personal on Sarvin. So Johnson is going to go to the free throw line.
Number 22, Keenan Sarvin. His 2nd personal, team foul number 8.
Defensively, Bob Huggins has to be somewhat pleased. They've done a pretty good job of keeping the people in front of them. And West Virginia, at this point, with 4 minutes and change left in the half, they've only committed 1 team foul. Only 1 team foul on the Mountaineers. Sometimes it's because you're not playing hard, but I don't think that's the case right now. They're just playing better with their feet.
Johnson, front end of a 1-and-1 is good for his 11th point. Change for Stony Brook. Keenan Fitzmaurice is in. Keenan Sarvin to the bench. Recent change for West Virginia. Milwaukee checked in for Jimmy Bell. Conversely, Bake, you were mentioning foul counts. It's somewhat uncharacteristic of this Stony Brook team to be in foul trouble. This is a team that really doesn't foul. Johnson back-to-back from the free throw line in the 1-and-1 situation. He's 4 for 4 on the day and has scored West Virginia's last 7 points to give WVU a 7-point lead. The 7-footer Fitzmaurice, 25 feet from the bucket, gives it to Policelli. Stevenson Moore off the screen, can't connect. And Wagee comes down with the board. Mountaineers 7 unanswered points. Kobe Johnson, no good. And another rebound by Policelli. That, by the way, Bake, 9 rebounds for the Dayton transfer Policelli.
Yeah, he can't get started on the offensive end. West Virginia doing a good job, but he certainly is controlling the boards.
Wagee commits the foul, just the 2nd for WVU. Mountaineers 7-0 run to get a little bit of a cushion against these Seawolves. West Virginia on a 7-0 run over the last 2.5 minutes to lead Stony Brook by 7. The guy who's done it all in that stretch, Kedrian Johnson.
Well, Bob Huggins needed someone else, he said, to become a scoring threat, and Keedy is providing that for him at this point.
Johnson averaging 9 points per game this season. Nearly not matched his career high a couple of weeks ago against UAB when he scored 17. Angelica Trinone has more thoughts on Johnson's development as a scorer.
Well, Hugs called Johnson one of the premier on-the-ball defenders in college hoops. However, they need him to be more aggressive on offense. He said they've had numerous conversations that he needs to run the show, be able to score it as well, and also he put the time in. That's why you're seeing the improvement. But what they really want him to do is grow into the type of point guard that JC and Deuce McBride were. Now, Hugs says that they told him they want him to follow that same path. Of course, Deuce was more of a scoring guard, but JC was able to grow into that by his final season. That's the type of path he's hoping for Kedrian Johnson in his final year as well.
Good stuff, Angelica. Johnson leading West Virginia with 12 points. Wagee answers the bucket from Tyler Stevenson Moore. That's his first basket. He becomes West Virginia's 5th scorer.
Wagee with a really nice move using his body inside.
Johnson and Onyekon going toe-to-toe there, and it looks like Kedrian Johnson is whistled for the trip here. That is the case.
This is something really that Wagee is going to have to work on. He's getting stronger each day. Going in and banging around with Jimmy Bell every day helps him a ton.
Johnson's foul, the 3rd team foul by West Virginia in this opening half. Johnson, Stevenson, Wagee, Jamel King, and Seth Wilson, the new entrant, the 5 on the floor for WVU. Onyekon on the pass from Stevenson Moore. Inside to Policelli. Might have gotten a tip to it, did Mo Wagee, and a rebound by Jamel King. Great feed from Stevenson. Wagee to King for 3, no good. Loose ball foul committed by Seth Wilson.
Getting Wagee with the foul there, and I didn't see exactly what he looked surprised that they called that foul on him.
Yeah, correct that. I said it was on Wilson. It is on Wagee.
Okonkwo comes in. You know, you're going to see those three bigs, Bell, Wagee, and Okonkwo, play a lot this year because they'll have to spell each other, and all three really continue to get better each game.
Onyekon inside, doesn't find his teammate, instead finds Stevenson. Here's Okonkwo! The Brit with takeoff at the Coliseum.
Beautiful setup by Stevenson. Stevenson with a no-look pass. Okonkwo with good hands to catch that and flush it.
West Virginia leads by 9. Another foul on West Virginia, this one on Stevenson. Great no-look pass there from Stevenson to find Okonkwo in transition.
You love to see the big guy run the floor and get rewarded for it.
6'8" sophomore from Maidenhead, England, doing work in transition. On the other end, Stevenson picked up his first personal. 2 minutes to go as action resumes. Mountaineers lead 28-19, looking for their 4th win in a row. Onyekon has been hot from 3, specifically that exact spot. He's got 9 points.
Onyekon, he's one of those guys, I don't think you can go behind the screen with him. You got to fight over the top. You give him too much room, and he's going to blast it down.
2-possession ball game. Final 2 minutes of the first half. Kedrian Johnson inside, no good, and another rip by Policelli on the glass.
At this rate, he may end up leading the nation in rebounding.
He does have 10 already, which is above his average. Timeout called by Stony Brook head coach Gino Ford. So, by the way, on Policelli, he's got 10 boards today, Bake. That's 127 on the season. He needs just 4 more to match his total output for all of last season. He had 131 rebounds last year. He's also second on the team in scoring, has yet to score today, but averages 12 points per game. Really impressive young man from New York.
West Virginia's done a good job on him on the offensive end, but I'm telling you what, anything that goes up there in the air and hits the rim, he's going to go grab it on the defensive end.
Mountaineers shooting 37% from the field. Stony Brook 39%. It's been a slow start to this one for Bob Huggins Mountaineers. which, by the way, WVU scoring at its best clip under Coach Huggins since the 2016-17 season. This team through 11 games averaging 81.9 points per game. The 2017 team that went to the Sweet 16 and lost to Gonzaga in San Jose averaged 81.5 points per game and won 28 contests that season. I believe they went to the Big 12 championship game that year as well. So it might bode well for this West Virginia offense that it is scoring so well so far this season. But of course, the competition is going to ramp up at a significant clip here very soon. Big 12 play begins on New Year's Eve against K-State as the Mountaineers go on the road for a pair of games at KSU and Oklahoma State. 5 on the timer. Onyekon dishes to Petway, who drives for the reverse. Wow, what a finish by Tanaj Petway.
Nice move. Petway using the rim to protect. Okonkwo was there. Use that rim to protect and get the ball on the board.
4-point game in the final minute of the first half. Petway has 4 points for Stony Brook. Here's Seth Wilson inside Okonkwo. Back out to Wilson with just 7 to shoot. Pulls up for a long 2. No good, and another rebound by Policelli. 11. Shot clock is dark. Stony Brook a chance to make this a 1-possession game going into the locker room. Onyekon letting the clock tick down against Kedrian Johnson. Step back 3, no good, and nobody home to rebound. King pushes it forward. Stevenson pulling up. That would have been a miracle had it gone in. Instead, it's a 4-point West Virginia lead at the break.
Well, I'll tell you what, West Virginia's in a dogfight. Some of it their own doing, but give Stony Brook a lot of credit. They played a good ball game here in this first half.
Absolutely so, Bake. You know, West Virginia started a little slow against Buffalo, ultimately pulled away. Maybe the same thing will happen here. Let's go to Angelica Trinones with Coach Huggins.
Coach, here in this first half, you had some runs, but also some scoring droughts. You only lead by 4 at the half. What do you need to see in the second?
We didn't pass the ball. We had guys open, didn't pass the ball. We're not making open shots. We did a horrible job of guarding them at their end.
In terms of rebounding, they've got the slight edge. Policelli has 10 on the night. What do you need to see on the glass?
Maybe more bigs, because the ones we're gut's not rebounding. We got Jimmy rebounding, the other guys watching.
Coach, thank you.
Yep.
Mountaineers shooting just 34% in the first half, but they do lead Stony Brook by 4 at the break. Our halftime report is next on Big 12 Now on ESPN+. Action about to resume here at the WVU Coliseum on Big 12 Now on ESPN+. West Virginia leading Stony Brook 28-24. Back here courtside, Nick Farrell along the Hall of Famer, wonderful Warren Baker, and Angelica Trinone, the third member of our crew. Bake, West Virginia led by single digits against Buffalo, ended up winning that game by 18 points. Clearly, the message Bob Huggins delivered at halftime worked. What do you think he said this time in the locker room?
Well, it's a repeat of the last time. We cannot continue to have these type of halves like this going into big league play. They have to start working harder the entire time. You can't have those type of lapses.
Of course, this is West Virginia's final tune-up before Big 12 play begins on New Year's Eve. Mountaineers were tied in the first half midway through it. Toby Onyekon, the leading scorer for the 4-8 Seawolves. He scored 9 points, all from beyond the arc, and hit a couple of threes from basically the exact same spot.
Well, you can't go behind the screen against this guy. You got to fight over the top. You see what happens when he gets a little space. He shows that he can knock him down.
Meanwhile, for West Virginia, the leading scorer is Kedrian Johnson, who has 12 points. At one point, this game was tied at 17 apiece. Johnson rattled off 7 consecutive points to help put West Virginia in control again.
Well, Keely's had a really good first half, but I don't think Hugs likes the way his offense has been running. It's not fluid at all. It's really kind of just a choppy offense, and Kedrian Johnson has played very, very well.
Stony Brook shooting 40% from the field. West Virginia just shooting 35%. Seawolves also hold an advantage on the glass. Angelica Trinone got thoughts from Stony Brook head coach Gino Ford during the intermission. What's up, Angelica?
Coach Ford told me that their best defense was their offense. He said what he really liked from his team was the way that they were able to suck the life out of West Virginia by keeping it at a pace they like. However, he said his big message in the locker room was these Mountaineers aren't going to take that lightly. He said they're going to ratchet it up here in the second half, and they need to be ready because if not, this could get out of hand within just the first couple of minutes if they're not able to control the pace. He said also what they're trying to do is put 12,000 fans to sleep. He said if they can do that, maybe that can help them pull it off too.
Good stuff, Angelica. Coach Ford in his 7th season with Stony Brook, 4th as the head coach. Action underway in the second half, and a rejection down low by Keenan Fitzmaurice, the 7-footer from Overland Park, Kansas, denying Eric Stevenson on the block.
Well, defensively, Stony Brook really has done a nice job.
Play resumes. Mountaineers almost turned it over. Pass deflected by Stony Brook. So West Virginia will take it out near Coach Huggins' stool. It's different 5 out there to start the second half than the one that started the opening period. Kedrian Johnson, Joe Toussaint, Trey Mitchell, Jimmy Bell, and Eric Stevenson. Toussaint with 4 to shoot. Let's fly from deep, and he hits. First bucket of the night from Joe Toussaint, the Bronx, New York native.
Well, we've seen Joe Toussaint different times this year come in and really be a spark for this offense.
Toby Onyekone gets inside. Keenan Saverin around to Keenan Fitzmaurice. Frankie Policelli and Tyler Stevenson Moore, the other Seawolves on the floor.
Toussaint doing a better job of not letting Onyekone get around the screens.
In the corner, it's Stevenson Moore, and he is fouled by Eric Stevenson.
Eric Stevenson yelling for a flop.
Eric Stevenson, second, team foul number 1.
Here's a look at the Toussaint 3 from the corner. Step back to hit it to put West Virginia up 7. The other corner, it's Stevenson Moore, who's fouled and will go to the line.
Tyler Stevenson Moore, those guys have really, he and Stevenson have been really going at each other. I saw him jawing in the first half. That's something to keep an eye on.
Stevenson Moore made the first, the senior from Jamaica, Queens, New York. He is the leading free throw shooter in the Colonial Athletic Association, 87% from the line this season. He also leads Stony Brook in points on the year, averaging 15 a game. He hits all 3 to bring his point total today to 7, and it's back to a 4-point West Virginia lead.
Yeah, at halftime, Coach Ford's team down 4 points. If you said that Policelli wasn't going to score and Stevenson Moore would only have 4, he would take it.
Toussaint almost gave it away, but Stevenson Moore couldn't corral it before it went out of bounds on the baseline. Coach Ford, 51 wins as the head coach at Stony Brook. Also coached at Kent State and Bradley as a head coach before arriving in New York. 5 to shoot. Toussaint's going to go again. Driving, reverse no good, but Trey Mitchell's there for the tip-in.
Trey Mitchell just getting a hand on it, getting it up high enough to have it drop.
Mitchell has 5 points. Toussaint almost took it away. West Virginia gets beat by Stevenson Moore on a backdoor cut. 9 points for Stevenson Moore.
Savin with a great back screen on Johnson.
Mountaineers looking to extend their winning streak to 4 games and go 4 for 4 in this homestand before Big 12 play starts. Bell throws it into the bench. 4th West Virginia turnover.
With a good back screen right there. That freed him up. Nobody rotated back. Good executed play by Stony Brook.
Seawolves can make it a 1-possession game here. They're really in the mix for their first road win of the season and first victory against a major conference opponent. They've won 4 games, 2 of them against D1 foes, most recently beating Army West Point 66-59. There's Policelli who swishes a three. It is a 1-point ball game. Policelli had 11 defensive boards in the first half. That's his first bucket. Toussaint inside is fouled.
That time, Toussaint down the court, really nobody else touched the ball. You know, everybody else kind of standing around. This offense is not clicking at all at this point.
Policelli swishing that open look. He had 22 and 19 against the Black Knights in that recent win over Army.
He didn't get those open looks in the first half. West Virginia made him work that time, able to set his feet. And you know the guy can score. And he averages 12 points a ball game, so he can put him up.
The Iowa transfer Toussaint makes the first. He's a 77% free throw shooter. Bake, let's go back to the point you made about Toussaint's drive to the basket there. That's something that West Virginia needs to do better, right? Moving the ball and taking better care of the ball on possession.
Well, yeah, but at that time, and Joe's getting 2 free throws there, the offense was kind of stale. Everybody else was just kind of standing around watching Toussaint. Hugs is going with some full court pressure to see if he can get this offense jump started.
Onyekone gets it across the timeline. Kadrian Johnson all up in the grill of Stevenson Moore. Bell with the deflection. And then Bell fouls Fitzmaurice about 35 feet from the goal.
Hugs not happy with the call at all. In any event, whether it's a foul or not, you never want to foul somebody 35 feet from the basket.
Second personal on Bell, second team foul for West Virginia in this half. Onyekone, maybe a bit of a heat check. Nothing but air as West Virginia quickly restarts it.
Let's see if West Virginia can get some motion on the offensive end here.
Here's Mitchell in the corner, spots up himself, swish.
Trey Mitchell.
Mountaineers continue to extend their pressure. You know what, Bake? Might not hurt to see take over Trey again here in this second half. He had 12 of his 17 against Buffalo in the second half of action.
Now he got a tip and now a three. They also need to get Eric Stevenson going too. He's been sluggish on the offensive end.
Stevenson coming off a season-high 22 against Buffalo. Another air ball from the Seawolves, that time courtesy of Keenan Sarvin. Mountaineers lead by 6. Trey Mitchell with 5 points here in the second half, bringing his tally to 8, swishing a 3 in the corner.
Please welcome back the WNS team.
We're about a month away from the 11th annual Bob Huggins Fish Fry, and the head coach has just announced the headline guest for the event on January 27th at Milan Park. It's fellow Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Famer Charles Barkley. For tickets, head to NormaMayHuggins.com or BobHugginsFishFry.com. All proceeds from the event benefit the Norma May Huggins Cancer Research Endowment Fund and the Remember the Miners Scholar Fund. Bake, as Coach Huggins likes to say, come on out to the annual Fish Fry. It's going to be a big time.
Boy, Chuck will put on a show. I'm sure.
I bet.
Oh, my goodness. I've seen him at a couple of other events, and yes, he is.
Of course, the Mountaineers play Auburn the next day in the Big 12 SEC Challenge.
That's his alma mater as well.
Feed into Stevenson down low. Better ball movement here from West Virginia. Kadrian Johnson, 3, back iron, rebound, Mitchell. Stevenson will let one fly. That's good. Okay, Bake, right on cue. You said let's get Eric Stevenson hot. That's his 7th point and first 3 of the game.
And we're seeing a lot of energy out of Trey Mitchell right now. Getting that offensive board.
Stevenson with the swipe. Tries to keep possession. Still a loose ball. 10-second violation. No change of possession, just a tipped ball by Eric Stevenson.
Trey Mitchell deserves an assist on that play. Fighting for that rebound, then kicking it over to Stevenson, who buried it.
Mountaineers on an 8-0 run to lead Stony Brook by 9.
Stony Brook arguing that they lost control of the ball, but West Virginia really never had control of the ball. So that 10-second rule still was in place.
Bake, this feels like such a critical sequence in this game. West Virginia, this could be the time to start pulling away as Mitchell steps back and can't convert.
Yeah, it is. West Virginia has a little bit of momentum. If they can put the foot down, I think they could pull away.
Stevenson Moore, baseline. And a foul on the floor on the rebound. I think it was on Joe Toussaint for West Virginia.
Didn't really see. I was watching the ball in flight. I don't know what happened on the weak side here. Joe's getting caught pushing the big fella inside. Fitzmaurice was inside. Toussaint trying to help out.
Another whistle, another foul, this one on Mohamed Wagee. That's his 3rd personal and the 4th West Virginia team foul of the half. Stevenson Moore wide open, let's fly. Back iron no good. Eric Stevenson will push. The feed to Mitchell is tipped. Here's Stevenson Moore the other way, has Kane Roberts in the corner. He got it.
Boy, big transition basket. West Virginia looked like they had numbers. The turnover results in a 3 for Stony Brook.
Roberts, the native of Tokyo, Japan, with his first basket. He was limited in the first half with 3 personal fouls. Cuts it to a 2-possession ball game with the transition triple. Meanwhile, Mitchell loses control of it. Back-to-back turnovers for West Virginia. 6 total on the day. Roberts trying to find space. Almost threw it into Gucci Rowe on the near side.
Yeah, the official saved it.
Offensive foul. Toussaint knew it too.
Offensive foul was Stony Brook's number 22, Keenan Sarvin.
Sarvin with a big height advantage.
Foul number 2.
But Toussaint with the positioning to draw the offensive foul in the paint. A lot of changes for both teams. On the floor now for West Virginia. Kedrian Johnson, Joe Toussaint, Trey Mitchell, Jimmy Bell, and Seth Wilson. Here is Seth Wilson to Bell.
Well, they know Bell's not going to shoot it right there. The bigs for Stony Brook just clogging up the middle.
8 to shoot for West Virginia. Foul off the ball down low. It's Rocco Muratori, the culpable Seawolf. That's his 3rd personal, joining Roberts as a pair of Seawolves with 3 fouls.
Huds have been lobbying for a foul inside with the post players, and he got that call that time.
Out there for the Seawolves, Roberts, Petway, Stevenson, Moore, Policelli, and Muratori. Mountaineers lose it again for the 7th time. Mitchell trying to get it back. Inside, Stevenson, Moore no good. Put back no good. Muratori, the 7-footer, can't get it. And Joe Toussaint ultimately commits a foul after a mad scramble for the ball. His 2nd personal and the 5th West Virginia team foul.
Boy, excellent chance for Stony Brook. Point blank, couldn't get one to drop. Loose ball. West Virginia couldn't come up with it. Stony Brook still fighting.
Policelli pulls up, no good. And Stevenson with the rebound.
You have to body up on Policelli, and that's exactly what Stevenson did.
Stevenson gets it back. Now Johnson to Wilson and around to Toussaint, looking inside to Bell. Not going to get it there. But a floor foul as those two were jockeying for positioning. It's Muratori who picks up his 2nd in quick succession for 4 personals. He'll quickly exit, replaced by another 7-footer in Keenan Fitzmaurice.
Muratori, he has a bad knee. His mobility is not good at all. But you know, the one thing that we talked about at the beginning of the game, the Stony Brook needed to control the pace, and they've done a nice job at this point of making West Virginia play at the pace that they wanted to play.
Johnson inside, draws the foul. He'll go to the line as Fitzmaurice, the center, picks up his first personal.
There's no fear in Kedrian Johnson when he goes to the bucket. He will challenge them. And the thing about Keedy is that he is strong enough to go up against the bigs and get that ball on the board. Just didn't get that one high enough just now, but he does a great job of that.
Johnson, one of West Virginia's best free throw shooters, is now 5 for 5 on the day for 13 points. Quick note that Fitzmaurice has 2 personals, not 1. Sorry, Bake.
That's okay. You know, as teams prepare for West Virginia, it used to be, well, Keedy Johnson, they know what he does on the defensive end, causes all kinds of havoc, but he used to be just a distributor. They're going to have to look at him now as a scorer.
8th best free throw shooter in the Big 12 Conference, 6 for 6 on the day with 14 points. Full court pressure
Virginia
forces a timeout from Stony Brook.
5-second violation.
So the Mountaineers have an 8-point cushion, but Stony Brook's hanging tough at the Coliseum. It was West Virginia's tremendous trio that fueled it in the second half against Buffalo on the way to an 18-point victory over the weekend. Today, though, Bake, those Mountaineers really haven't produced at the same clip.
Well, certainly Hudson wanted to see Jimmy Bell continue after his performance last ball game. No points, only has taken 1 shot and has 2 rebounds. They have to get more production out of that big fellow. You know, Trey Mitchell hit the first 3 of the game, and then he's got a tip in another 3 here, so he is coming in little spurts, and we just saw Stevenson hit a 3 a second ago. Those guys offensively need to get rolling here.
Over the last several minutes of action, neither offense has really been productive. Stony Brook, just one of its last 8 from the floor. Johnson fouls the Seawolf. It was Stevenson Moore who tried to break the press with the layup. So that's Kedrian Johnson's 2nd foul.
West Virginia foul.
Boy, excellent play drawn up by Gino Ford out of that timeout. Being able to fake up, have someone go long. The pass was a little shorter. It would have been just an easy layup. Kedrian Johnson hustling back, getting a block, but also the foul.
So one of the best free throw shooters in the country is at the foul line with Stony Brook trailing by 8. It's Tyler Stevenson Moore, who is now the 2nd player in double figures in today's game. Stevenson Moore in his 4th season with Stony Brook has started games for the Seawolves in each of those 4 seasons. Now 5 for 5 from the line to cut it back to a 2-possession game. Mountaineers have not scored a field goal in the last 3 minutes of this contest. Pass deflected by Stevenson Moore. Will stay with West Virginia with 11 on the timer.
Even then, that was not a great pass. West Virginia really struggling on that offensive end.
Toussaint misses wide, but Jimmy Bell is there to collect the offensive board. Stevenson, quick trigger, got it.
Well, we've seen at times it doesn't take long for Stevenson to get hot.
First field goal for West Virginia in 3 minutes and 20 seconds. Petway, Fitzmaurice, Policelli, Roberts, and Stevenson Moore, the 5 on the floor for the Seawolves. Petway inside, got it off the glass.
Got to give this Stony Brook team a lot of credit the way they've played here.
Bake, you know, when you look at this one on paper, you think it's one West Virginia wins in a blowout. This Stony Brook team lost to Florida 81-45. West Virginia beat that same Florida team by about 30.
Stevenson beginning to cook now.
He's got 11, with 7 of those points coming here in the second half. Stevenson Moore lets fly. And Stevenson with the rebound for West Virginia. Seth Wilson to Joe Toussaint in the corner. Back to Kedrian Johnson. Toussaint inside to Bell. Bell against Fitzmaurice. Double team down low, draws the foul. It's Policelli, the culpable Seawolf on that occasion. Bell will go to the line. When we come back, Eric Stevenson heating up. He's in double figures for WVU.
Bob Huggins was asked a few days ago how he felt about this team being so high scoring, and many kind of laughed at him whenever he said, well, we're leaving points out there and we could be scoring more. Hugg says he thinks right now his team is overhandling the ball. They're not delivering it when it needs to be delivered. They hold the ball too long. They're throwing it too much on defense, whether it be throwing at a guy's feet, throwing it at their head. He said they're having a problem right now with when a guy holds his hand out and says, here, they're not throwing it there. That's what he said, and that's what we're seeing here tonight. West Virginia leaving those points on the court. One area of emphasis, surely, before they head to Manhattan, Kansas.
Thanks for that insight, Angelica. Nick Farrell, Warren Baker, Angelica Trenone here with you. Jimmy Bell on the free throw line for WVU. He's 0 for 1 today from the stripe. Make it 1 for 2 for the junior college transfer from Moberly area. To Angelica's point, West Virginia averaging 82 points per game as a team through the first 11 contests of the season. Right now sitting below 50. Likely not going to hit that margin tonight as Bell hits both to make it a double-digit lead, West Virginia's largest of the game.
West Virginia continuing to put some pressure on, again, to try to get some movement. I think as much on the offensive end as it is on the defensive end with this pressure.
Mountaineers have also shot 50% or better in each game in their 3-game winning streak. Right now shooting 40%, 16 of 40 from the field. 5 to shoot for Stony Brook. Here's Frankie Policelli pulling back and letting fly.
Good job. Seth Wilson right in his chest. That's what you have to do to this guy.
13th Stony Brook turnover. Mountaineers leading by double digits here midway through the second half, looking to extend that winning streak to 4 games with Big 12 play on the horizon. Kedrian Johnson steps into a 3. No good, but Jimmy Bell rips down the offensive glass. Eric Stevenson, back iron, no good. Kane Roberts gobbles up the rebound.
Well, we're seeing Jimmy Bell being a little more active, actually really going after those offensive rebounds more, a lot more than he did the first half.
Roberts pulls up, can't get it to fall. Eric Stevenson board for West Virginia. Here's Joe Toussaint for 3, got it.
Joe Toussaint.
8 points for the Iowa transfer for West Virginia, all of them coming in the second half. It's another 7-0 run for the Mountaineers, who lead by 13. Keenan Fitzmaurice inside against Jimmy Bell. Bell stripped it away. Possession will stay with the Seawolves.
And Coach Ford said all of the games that they've lost, they've run out of gas. Are we beginning to see a little bit of that right now?
Seawolves only going 8 deep in this contest. That's been a theme for them as of late. Seawolves 4-8 overall. 2 of their wins coming against Division I opponents in Sacred Heart and Army this month. Leading scorer Stevenson Moore has his shot fall short. West Virginia has won 8 of its 9 games by 18 points or more, including 4 by exactly that margin. Starting to feel like the Mountaineers are pulling away. Stevenson doesn't get it to drop.
Eric a little off balance when he let that one go that time. Really didn't have his feet set on him.
Stony Brook wants a timeout with 8:32 to go in the contest, and the Mountaineers leading 52-39.
Big possession coming up for Stony Brook. I think that was a great timeout.
Mountaineers are 9-2 overall this season. They had a really good start to non-conference play last year. Then things kind of fell apart in Big 12 play, winning just 4 league games. But Bake, Joe Toussaint is one of 6 incoming transfers this year with Division I experience, poised to make this a different outcome for WVU in the league.
Well, we've seen him, whether it be on the defensive end or the offensive end, come in, and he's always a catalyst. He can do it on the defensive end. We've seen him jumpstart the offense. He came in tonight in the second half especially and hit some big shots.
Toussaint, a pair of threes and 2 free throws here in this second half for his 8 points. Mountaineers led on the day by Kedrian Johnson with 14. A dozen of those came in the first half. Meanwhile, Tyler Stevenson Moore, the leading scorer for the Seawolves, in double figures with 11. Toby Onyekone had 9 points in the first half, all coming from beyond the arc. He is yet to score in this second period and has the ball now as play resumes. Onyekone driving, off-balance shot, but he gets the foul and will go to the line.
Just a little hesitation, enough to freeze the defender, get by, got fouled, and get to go to the line.
That's 3 personals now on Joe Toussaint, all of them coming in the second half. Mountaineers over the limit with 17 fouls. Stony Brook 1 away from 17 fouls. This one a shooting foul, though, so Onyekone will get a pair, rattles home the first one, and becomes the second Stony Brook player in double digits. And the masked man, Onyekone, makes both. 11 on the day. And that ends a scoreless drought for Stony Brook that lasted more than 3 minutes. West Virginia's lead down to 11 points. Toussaint driving, floating, and drawing a foul. He'll go to the line.
You know, a lot of things at this point, Nick, will go into this. To a man, whether it be Stony Brook or West Virginia, in the back of these guys' minds, they know that they get a few days off here. There's a Christmas break coming. You know, you have 8 minutes and 7 seconds left in the game. Finish it off and then think about getting home to the turkey and the family and the presents, those type of things.
Toussaint makes the first of 2. Onyekone fouled him to send him to the stripe. The senior makes both, and he's in double figures now with 10, the 3rd Mountaineer with 10 or more. You know, I was talking to some folks at shoot-around today, Bake, and they say that every year this is a game that concerns them, this game right before Christmas, because so many players are worried about getting home to family, their travel plans, and of course, some concerns about weather and flight cancellation, things of that nature. Here's Seth Wilson, transition triple, he got it.
Seth Wilson went to a spot and they found him. He knew exactly where he wanted to put that ball up from.
16-point lead, the largest advantage for West Virginia in this game. Eric Stevenson almost stripped Policelli. Tyler Stevenson Moore working on the screen. Floats it over top of Stevenson, but misses. Kedrian Johnson back to Seth Wilson. Can he make it 2 in a row? Yes, sir.
That offense coming off the bench. We've seen Seth Wilson do that before.
Back-to-back 3 balls from the sophomore from Lorain, Ohio. It's a 19-point West Virginia cushion. The Seawolves have hung tough, and they answer from Keenan Sarvin. His third, his second 3-pointer, 8 points on the day. Kedrian Johnson bouncing it and directing traffic. We've got a whistle and a stoppage and a foul off the ball committed by Onyekone. Bench scoring, important for WVU. Seth Wilson, the sophomore, helping West Virginia pull away in its final game before Big 12 play. Mountaineers lead Stony Brook by 16 in the second half. West Virginia leading Stony Brook by 16 with 6.5 left in the second half. Nick Farrell, Warren Baker, Angelica Trinone here with you on Big 12 Now on ESPN+. Big, one thing that jumps out to me here looking at the stat sheet, West Virginia was trailing in rebounding at halftime, now has a 30-26 edge in that category.
Just looking at the same stats, Nick, you're exactly right. Being able to get on those boards offensively and defensively, that's it. And Stony Brook's shooting cooled off West Virginia, not giving up second shots.
Seth Wilson hit back-to-back three-pointers a moment ago to help West Virginia extend its lead. Mountaineers have 3 players in double figures. Kedrian Johnson, 14. Eric Stevenson, 11. Joe Toussaint, 10. It's Toussaint who's at the free throw line. Once again, this is his 3rd trip to the charity stripe. Toussaint will shoot a 1-and-1, and he makes the front end for 11 on the day. He's now 5 for 5 from the line. Mountaineers as a team shooting it very well from the stripe today. They're now 15 of 16 as a group. That's something that Bob Huggins always harps on his players. Guys got to make 100 free throws. Not shoot 100, but make 100 at every practice. West Virginia 73% on the season from the line. That's second best in the Big 12. Policelli lets rip from deep, no good.
Well, he's been frustrated on the offensive end. He really can't get any good look. That was not a good look. He was open, but that was 28 feet away from the bucket.
Coming off his 3rd 22-point outing of the season, which ties his season and career high, has just 3 points in this game. Stevenson off the screen, short, and Okonkwo was whistled for the foul as he tried to collect the rebound.
Foul whistled on West Virginia's number 32, James Okonkwo. His first, team foul.
There are times when you go for an offensive rebound, you're not going to get it. If you can't be 50-50 with the guy or get inside, sometimes you're better off, hey, he's a big guy, he's going to rebound, let him get it, go down and play at the other end, but you don't want to foul and then send someone to the free throw line.
Both teams in the bonus at this moment, so Sarvin shoots a 1-and-1 and makes the front end. 9 points for the Nederlander. 6'10" junior, just a 54% shooter at the line this season. And he swishes the second, 10 points, and the 3rd Seawolf in double figures.
Looked a lot better than his percentage that time on those 2 free throws, that's for sure.
It has been a free throw shooting clinic today. Just 1 free throw missed the whole day. Wilson misses the fadeaway from deep. Petway the rebound. Stony Brook is 9 for 9 from the stripe. West Virginia 15 of 16. The only missed free throw came in the first half and was the front end of a 1-and-1. Good defense from West Virginia, just a little bit too tight from Toussaint. And that's his 4th personal, all of them coming in the second half. Double bonus now for Stony Brook. 2 shots the rest of the way after every foul.
Just a little reach, just enough of a bump to cause that foul. Now, just as opposing coaches know that West Virginia is an aggressive team, officials know it too. They know that they're an aggressive team. A lot of opposing coaches say, listen, they're going to bump us, they're going to bump us. Be ready to call the foul.
Substitution for both teams. Jamel King is in for West Virginia. Joe Toussaint is out. Policelli to the bench for the Seawolves as Keenan Fitzmaurice, the 7-footer, re-enters. It's a 1-and-1. And Tyler Stevenson Moore made the front end. West Virginia's next foul will put Stony Brook in the double bonus. Stevenson Moore, a terrific free throw shooter, 7 for 7 on the day.
Well, as the season goes on in the conference, if you put Stony Brook on the line, they're going to get points.
Here's Jamel King for West Virginia to Okonkwo. Stevenson lost his footing momentarily, works off the screen from Okonkwo and got the three to go. West Virginia forces a turnover, or nearly did, as the Seawolves get it back. Here's Sarvin from deep. He answers.
Boy, Sarvin has had a really good ball game.
Just a 33% shooter from beyond the arc, but he's got 3 3-pointers today. Stevenson thought it might have been deflected. Instead, it's West Virginia's 8th turnover with just under 4.5 left.
Well, that pass had a lot of juice on it. It had to get through, but certainly Wilson just not ready for it.
Sarvin, by the way, 4 for 7 on the day, 50% from beyond the arc on 3 of 6 shooting. He gives it to Stevenson Moore, down to Fitzmaurice on the block. Okonkwo fouled him.
That's the inexperience. We've seen 2 fouls by Okonkwo, 1 over the back on a rebound, and that reach again. That's something that he's got to learn as time goes on.
So double bonus now as Keenan Fitzmaurice will go to the line for a pair. The grad transfer from Stanford. Swishes the first. Boy, if there is one takeaway that Gino Ford will have from this game, other than the way that his team is hung tight with a Big 12 opponent, it's that his team has shot terrifically from the free throw line. Stony Brook, a 70% shooting team, which is middle of the pack in its conference. And Fitzmaurice connects 2 for 2, a 2-time NABC Honors Court selection, one of the highest honors one can receive in college basketball for academics. Jamel King will try one. Long 2 is no good. Mountaineers lead by a dozen. But Stony Brook with another opportunity here to chip into West Virginia's cushion. Inside goes Petway. Might have been a bit too easy there, Big.
Yeah, it was a great cut. West Virginia slow of foot to get on that defense end, and Hubbs says enough of this. Let's stop this. What kind of defense are we playing?
Stony Brook has scored 7 unanswered points to cut this to a 10-point game in the final 4 minutes, but the Mountaineers still hold the upper hand. This week in the AP poll, but not enough to crack the top 25. Meanwhile, the Mountaineers are featured in the top 20 of several other important rankings, including the NET, the NCAA evaluation tool, which is weighed heavily come selection time for the NCAA tournament, and in the top 20 in the latest KenPom rankings, including 21st in offensive efficiency and 35th in defensive efficiency. West Virginia wrapping up its final tune-up before the start of Big 12 play, leading Stony Brook by 10 in the final 4 minutes of this contest. Nick Farrell, Warren Baker, and Angelica Trinone here with you on Big 12 Now on ESPN+. Bake, as we look ahead to Big 12 play starting on New Year's Eve against K-State, what needs to be among West Virginia's biggest areas of focus?
I don't know. You know, that's a tough question right now, because from game to game, you see some things that you're saying, well, they've got that fixed, and then again, you see it raise, Rebounding early on today was not good. They're still turning it over. Some bad turnovers, not that many, but the bad turnovers. So they've got a number of things they have to work on.
Whistle for an off-ball foul as Jimmy Bell and Keenan Fitzmaurice went at it in the paint.
Well, Bob Huggins wearing the officials out during that timeout. He really was unhappy with the way the calls had been going. Although I do think that Hugs, at a later date, will look back and say, you know what, there were some things my team didn't do very well today either, aside from the officiating that I didn't like.
Well, so check that. Foul is on Petway, not the big man, to send Stevenson to the line, and he misses. So, Big, just to go back to that earlier conversation, so maybe it's consistency could be one way to sum it up for West Virginia?
Yes.
Deep 3 from Sarvin does not fall. Mountaineers still leading by 10. They're looking for their 4th victory in a row to close out a perfect homestand. Jamel King, no good. Floor foul committed by Fitzmaurice, who was jockeying again against Bell.
Jamel King just can't get on track. He's known as a very, very good shooter. And when teams are playing a man or a sloughing man in that time of matchup, King's going to be in there just for his shooting, but he still can't. If he could get one to drop, I think he would be fine, but he struggles to do that.
King 0 for 3 today, 3 for 9 from the field on the year, as Bell misses that free throw. Policelli checks in, Sarvin out for the Seawolves. By the way, that's the 10th Stony Brook team foul, so both teams are in the double bonus.
You know, sometimes you can't, the fact that your team is struggling and having some hiccups, you take an Emmett Matthews out of the equation for this ball club, and it's a totally different situation at times. He's one of those settling effects for the ball club, and right now I think they are missing that.
That 5 years of experience sure comes in handy, as does his scoring ability. He's gotten better and better every year at scoring the ball, as Fitzmaurice makes the mid-range jumper. Matthews averaging 11 points per game this season, but has missed the last 2 for the Mountaineers, diagnosed with a deep bone bruise. He injured his knee in the win over UAB during this homestand. Coach Huggins optimistic that he will be back to practice after the holiday break. We'll see if he makes his return against K-State on that 2-game road trip to open league play. Seth Wilson has hit a trio of triples for West Virginia here in this second half. Mountaineers by a dozen with 2 minutes left. Policelli trying to attack Trey Mitchell. Fitzmaurice is fouled by Seth Wilson.
Seth Wilson just a little too aggressive. West Virginia really pushing them away from the basket right now, making them try to start that offense. And Stony Brook trying to find somebody to get it to, and Seth Wilson that time bails him out with a foul.
Bake, it's been an impressive showing from Stony Brook, as Fitzmaurice makes the first of 2 for 7 on the day. Gino Ford's crew is in its first season in the Colonial Athletic Association, going to start league play very soon on New Year's Eve against Northeastern. This team was picked to finish 9th in a 13-team league, but very well could hang with some of the better squads in that conference. Towson, the favorite to win that league, won the regular season conference title a year ago. Meanwhile, for West Virginia, holiday break, then back to action on the 31st against K-State, the league opener. 2 days later, we'll play Oklahoma State in Stillwater. Jimmy Bell rejected underneath by Fitzmaurice.
Nice defensive play by Fitzmaurice.
Bell, who had a season-high 18 against Buffalo, has yet to make a field goal in this game, as Anya Cone fouls Kedrian Johnson in the backcourt. And Johnson will shoot a pair. 4 fouls on Anya Cone. Johnson will step to the line, where he's a perfect 6 for 6 today. He had a dozen points in the first half and was really key in helping West Virginia gain some space right before halftime. Keaty's first free throw is good for 15 points on the day.
Jimmy Bell's offense is a work in progress, but West Virginia, as they go into league play, they're going to have to be able to pencil in 8 to 10 rebounds a game from him. In that league, with the size they have, he has to do some board work.
Johnson still perfect from the line. Bell, 6 rebounds today. He's had at least 6 now in each of his last 6 appearances for West Virginia. Mountaineers by a dozen as we approach the final minute of action in this contest. WVU a minute away from extending its winning streak to 4 games. Mitchell against Policelli, still fighting for it, and the Mountaineers win the ball back. Johnson to the bucket. Left-hand layup is good.
you know, they should give Trey Mitchell an assist on that play as well.
With that basket, Kedrian Johnson ties his career high of 18. Crowd goes silent as Stevenson Moore hits. Here's Eric Stevenson on the baseline. He swishes. Stevenson scored 22 against Buffalo. He's got 16 today. 2 points behind the team leading Kedrian Johnson. Putback by Petway is good. He's got 10. No quit in these Seawolves.
None at all. Very, very impressive game, being outmanned the way they were today.
Certainly impressive from Stony Brook, which only went 8 deep. Gino Ford's squad has a lot of season left in it, but does not come out victorious today. Instead, it's the Hall of Famer Bob Huggins who gets career win number 926 as the Mountaineers win 75-64.
Well, it wasn't easy today, and West Virginia, at times, its own worst enemy, but still, you know, at the end of the year, it's on the left side of the column, and that's really all that counts.
Stony Brook falls to 4-9 overall. Its next game is on New Year's Eve at Northeastern at noon. First game in the CAA. West Virginia to 10-2. Big 12 play is next. For Warren Baker, Angelica Trinone, and all the members of our crew, I'm Nick Farrell saying so long from the Coliseum. All games airing on the ESPN networks are streaming live and archived on the ESPN app. This has been a presentation of ESPN.